Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. Looking at fire potential impacts for the next few days, we are looking at smoke continuing through the week. We will see drier conditions with record heat through this week, where we are also concerned about winds in the 25 to 35 mile an hour range picking up across the areas highlighted in orange on the map, and that will also coincide with low relative humidities. We will see some moisture move into the area, and that will bring a mix of wet and dry lightning late Thursday and Friday into Nevada and Idaho. This is looking at our afternoon near-surface smoke forecast for today and tomorrow afternoon. For this afternoon, looking at the greatest impacts continuing across portions of Idaho. As we go into Thursday, we should see some improvement at the surface across southeastern Idaho, but still really poor air quality and visibility expected across western Idaho. Looking at the total smoke forecast, much of the Great Basin continues to be impacted by smoke from the fires in California, and that will not change too much over the next few days. Conditions could improve a bit across southern Nevada and southern Utah, but really not looking great across Idaho and into northeastern Utah. Over the past 24 hours, we've had no precipitation and no lightning in the area. Taking a look at fire activity, just one new fire reported in the past 24 hours. It's been quite dry across the northwestern portion of the Great Basin over the past 7 and 14 days. These images are showing how observed precipitation compares to normal. Idaho and Nevada have been incredibly dry. Things improve a bit moving to the southeast, as you can see portions of southeastern Utah well above normal with precipitation, but really dry conditions across the northwestern part of the Great Basin. Those precipitation trends are reflected quite well by the ERCs. You can see many ERCs above the 90th percentile and some even in that 97th percentile across portions of northern Nevada and much of Idaho where conditions have been very dry. ERCs across central Idaho are near record values, higher than what we were looking at last year. ERCs in GB11, which is along the Sierra front, are setting record high values. Satellite this morning shows a really broad area of high pressure centered directly over the Great Basin. And with that in place, we are looking at another day of hot and dry conditions over the area. So again, for today on the left, you can see that really large area of high pressure centered over the Great Basin. With that, we do have very hot and dry conditions. If we look at the surface forecast in more detail, pretty light winds for the most part today, expecting mainly terrain-driven winds and really low relative humidities. Moving into Thursday, we start to see things change a bit as an upper low begins to move into the area. That will shift the high pressure to the east and allow moisture to increase across the western part of the Great Basin. That will bring the threat of lightning to the Sierra front, and you can see those areas that we have highlighted for dry lightning tomorrow. Also, there is concern about gusty winds across portions of Idaho, and we have issued a high risk for those areas with wind concerns. Taking a closer look at the wind forecast for tomorrow, you can see up in Idaho, we are expecting winds in that 25 to 35 mile an hour range. Kind of the weirder looking winds into Nevada are the model trying to reflect thunderstorm outflows that we could see with any storms that develop tomorrow afternoon. Relative humidities do come up a little bit tomorrow, but still generally below 15% across much of the area. This image on the left is looking at the thunderstorm forecast, and those are the areas where we are expected to see thunderstorms develop tomorrow afternoon. So moving to Friday, that moisture moves to the north and the east. Much larger area of the Great Basin at threat, with a threat for dry thunderstorms, dry lightning on Friday. You can see much of northern Nevada and a small portion of southern Idaho is highlighted for the dry lightning threat. Storms are expected to be wetter further north. On Friday, pretty strong winds possible with outflows from those thunderstorms. Relative humidities come up quite a bit on Friday, as you can see with those relative humidity values forecasted only drop into the 30s and 40s across Idaho. And then the image on the left is taking a look at the thunderstorm forecast for Friday afternoon. You can see that thunderstorm threat shifting into Idaho. Over the next 3 days, we are expected to get a decent amount of precipitation from the storms, with the greatest accumulation further north. Into Nevada, really just looking at maybe around 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of rain. A little better in the central Idaho mountains, where they could see around 1/2 of an inch of rain in some areas, but still remaining dry across much of Nevada. As we move into Saturday, that system moves to the east. You can see that many of our PSAs have gone from the brown to the yellow category, with the period of higher relative humidities and some precipitation across the north. Then moving into Sunday, we start to see that drier air make its way back into the western part of the Great Basin. That continues into Monday, with a drying trend expected most rapidly across the western part of the Great Basin. And then into Tuesday, looking at that high pressure really building and bringing another period of warmer and drier conditions. In the 7-day period, we're not expecting much precipitation beyond what we will see into this weekend. Finally, in the 8 to 14-day period, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for continuation of the hot and dry weather that we've seen for the past week or so. So after we get this shot of precipitation, it looks like we will go back into hotter and drier weather, and that takes us through September 21st. That's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thanks.